Yes boys, welcome back to the channel, hope you're all having a good day. Today we're carrying on with our Chaos Maker build, but there's a couple of differences from last time that I'll go over once the video starts. We're using Milana's twin blades on the build, we've got the Sword of the Night and Flame in the second weapon slot, we've got some absolutely epic fashion. I adore the fashion on this build, I think it looks awesome, and in our flask we're boosting our fire attacks and we're boosting our magic attacks. This build's called the Chaos Maker and it's all about using a selection of really chaotic spells to get our opponents on the move, get our opponents distracted, and then when they're distracted we're going to hit them with some big damage with the Ashes of War from our weapons or some of our backup spells. That's the game plan with this build, let's put it into practice in the invasions. So guys, we're back at it with the Chaos Maker. Welcome back to the channel, I hope you're all having an absolutely awesome day. I've been loving invading Elden Ring at the minute, it's so busy, everyone's playing, just getting invasions left, right and centre. Just can't complain guys, just having an absolutely awesome time. Even though invasions are still a little bit crazy, people are doing some insane damage, there's a lot of mental stuff going on at the minute. But it doesn't really matter, it's all fun and games and I'm just having a really good time. I hope you're all having a good time as well invading and not finding it too stressful. Just enjoy it guys, just take it with a pinch of salt. If your invasions are a little bit crazy, you know, it's going to get patched in it, there's going to be a patch, it's going to, you know, level out eventually. Just enjoy it, enjoy the activity, enjoy all the creative builds you can make and just have fun. I've been having a great time invading with this build. This is my Chaos Maker build and this is the second build that I've taken through the DLC so far. I've already released one video on it showing my initial invasions and the initial changes that I made to the build. The initial changes included some new fashion which I've already mentioned. I just absolutely love the fashion on this build. I think it looks so cool. We've got some of the new spells and we've also got the new weapons in Milana's twin blades. So from the first invasion video that I did with this build, what has changed? What have I been tweaking? What have I been adjusting to make this build better since the first time I used it? Well, there was a couple of simple changes that I noticed after I made the first video, and the first one is so obvious I had to slap myself in the face once I actually realised. When I first made this build, when I did the first round of invasions on this build in the DLC, I didn't realise, but I only had like 7 or 8 spell slots available. And like, I had a look and I thought, I'm sure I should have more spells than this. I'm sure I should have more spells available to use. Because I know I had like a couple of expensive spells that cost two spell slots. But still, you know, I was thinking, people use more spells. And then I had a look and there was like 7 or 8 spell slots available. And I was like, Bertrude, you are an absolute buffoon, son. What are you playing at? Go and get those other memory stones sorted. Give yourself more of a fighting chance in these invasions. And open up some more options for the spell slots. So, I went and just rode around the map. Collected all the memory stones that I'd missed. There was a couple of really simple ones that God knows why I didn't have them on the build. I think it boils down to when I first made this build quite a while ago, I probably just figured out the spells that I wanted to use, realised how many memory slots I needed for those spells and just went and got the amount that I needed without really thinking about plans for the future and having extra. God knows guys, I don't know, but either way, I went and got the memory stones and I opened up 10 memory slots, 10 spell slots, and that has changed the game for this build massively. It's allowed me to play around with a lot more different spells on the build, some different combinations. In the first video I actually weren't using the gravity missile. I've included that on the build. I've put collapsing stars back onto the build and it's opened up a world of options in these invasions. Gravity missile is a great spell. It's a little bit short range, but if you include it in the game plan and the gameplay style of this build, it can work really well. Putting it down amongst all the chaos, pulling people back into it with the collapsing stars. It really has added a lot to this build and it's just a hell of a lot of fun. It's a really good spell to include and I always like to use collapsing stars on this build, but since the DLC came out and there was a few new spells that I wanted to use, I took collapsing stars off But since putting it back on after getting the extra weapon, the extra spell slot, since putting it back on, I realised how useful it is on this build. It just works really well with the game plan. So yeah, you know, I'm a happy boy. You know, I've got the build where I want it in terms of the spell slots and the spell availability. I'm still absolutely loving some of the new spells in the DLC. Fleeting Microcosm, you know, it's a really good spell. Vortex of Putrescence. The other putrescent spell that I'm using, really good stuff, guys. I'm loving the new death spells on the build. But speaking of the death spells, that leads me to the second change that I've made since the first video I released, and that is the staff. Now, if you remember on the first video, I might even still be using it in some of these invasions, but on the first video I was using the Prince of Death staff, and that's because I was using a lot of the new death sorceries. Now, since that video, I've spoke to a few people, I've done a little bit of research, and I found out that the spells are actually bugged, I believe. The death spells aren't scaling properly with the Prince of Death staff, or they're not getting the buff that they should be getting from the death staff. The Prince of Death staff should buff all death sorceries, and I do believe that it's not working with the new spells on the build, so I decided to just go and change that. I put a different staff on the build. I'm using the Staff of the Great Beyond. It actually has better scaling than the Prince of Death staff anyway, so I think it's an overall better choice for the selection of spells that I am using. I'm getting more bang for my buck, and with the Staff of the Great Beyond, it's actually setting me up nicely for the next step of this build that I'm going to do, which is including some incantations on it as well. It's a Chaos Maker, so I'm going to get some chaos going with some incantations as well as the spells on this build. And the Staff of the Great Beyond is perfect for that because, as we know, it's a new staff in the game and it allows us to cast spells and incantations, which is something that I really do want to try out on this build moving forward. That's going to be my next round of invasions. I'm going to mix things up massively with some different incantations on it, and it's going to be absolutely awesome. I can't wait to try it out. It's just going to be great. It's going to mix up the build even more than it already is. And yeah, you know, the Staff of the Great Beyond, I'm getting good damage returns and it just suits that playstyle, so it's all ready for the next step. As well as that, moving forward, I think I'm going to try a new weapon on the build. In fact, I know I am because I leveled it up last night. I'm not going to tell you what it is just yet. I'm going to save that for the next video, but let's just say I'm really excited to try it all out. I've got the build set up and ready for invasions to start tonight with the incantations and the new weapon, and I can't wait to get going and give it a try. It's going to be absolutely awesome. So much variation available at the minute, guys. You can get so many different little slight variants out with the same build, just with so many different options that you can have. It's so good, guys. I'm absolutely loving invading. As I said at the start, you know, it can be a little bit mental. Invasions are still a bit crazy. There's a lot of damage going on. There's a lot of crazy spells, but you've just got to plod through. You know, you've got to plod through those invasions where it's a little bit frustrating. Plod through them, just get them out of the way, get on to the next one and then try and enjoy that one. And if that's the same, then get on to the next one and try and enjoy that one. And you know, you might have 2 or 3 bad ones, but then you'll have a handful of really good ones as well. It's just how it is. It's always been the same. Just keep your head down and enjoy it. Get invading, get killing some horse and have a good time. Now, speaking of horse, look at this guy. This guy was so funny. I invaded him and he was just super chill. He obviously just wanted a one-on-one. Now, I'm not usually down for just dueling in invasions. I always think get in the arena, that's what it's for. But when you cross someone like this, he's obviously just super chill guy. He just wanted a one-on-one, so I give it to him. It was really cool, you know. He was just using that Shamshir. He wasn't doing anything silly. It was just a good old one-on-one. But for some reason, he's got his blue ring on. And as you can see now at the bottom there, there's a hunter spawned in. So we're carrying on our little fight. And then straight away I get on my toes and I start looking for that blue, because you know how much I hate blues. And he's going to be my first priority as soon as I see him. Now, I was a bit wary of this horse, because, you know, why do you have your blue ring on if you just want to do duels like this? And he seemed really cool, so I was a bit wary about what was going on. But I gave him the benefit of the doubt, you know. I just turned my back on him, started looking for the blue, and then I just beelined it for the blue. Now, I did expect that this would happen. The host kind of backs off and lets me take care of the blue. I actually messaged him after this invasion Like, I just messaged him like GG, like you do after good invasion sometimes. And he actually says he didn't realise that he had the blue ring on, which is fine. But that's cool by me because it allowed me to just go and bully this blue a little bit. Now you can see I put some good damage on him. And his reaction after this is hilarious. He goes running to the host. He can't handle me on his own. He goes running to the host for some backup. He's desperately trying to get him involved. He wants him to start attacking me. But the horse just isn't having it because we was having a nice little fight between us. And the horse just isn't interested. And look at this blue panic rolling away. I get him down to one shot and I finish him off with the Ash of War and the Relinus Twin Blades. But it's an absolute disaster because I unfortunately killed the horse as well. But that was just, you know, it was just unlucky. I messaged him after, like I said, and I just said, oh, I'm sorry I killed you there, gutted, we was having a good fight. And he said he was actually trying to turn the blue ring off at the time when I killed him, which is why he didn't react to the Ash of War. But either way, it was a really funny invasion, and they're just, you know, just a good example of one of those funny moments that can happen when you're invading. This invasion here was another quite peculiar one. I spawned in and I've got this duo. And I was having a really good little fight with this duo. I was handling them quite well. You can see how well I'm using the spell rotation on the build. I felt like I was in control at this point. I weren't panicking too much. But you can see there a Bloody Fingers invaded, so I've got a fellow invader. Now as soon as I saw that, I was like, it's game on. Let's have a nice 2-on-2. I'm already having a good 2-on-1 against these two. And then this absolute muppet starts attacking me. What do you know? You just never know what to expect sometimes with these fellow invaders. This guy is obviously an absolute tool. I don't know why he did this. He just, you know, potentially spoiled what could have been a really good invasion, a really good 2-on-2. And he's just an absolute muppet, isn't he? Why do this? You're just an absolute idiot. But, you know, fair play to the host again though. You can see him. He's backed off a little bit and he's just allowing me to take this red on. I killed the host summon earlier. I managed to kill him in some of the crossfire. And we just managed to kill the stupid traitor red, and he gets the teabag for it. And again, you know, fair play to this host. He obviously knew the crack what was going on. He respected that we was having a good fight initially. And you know, I have so much respect for people who do things like this. He could see that that red was spoiling what was going to be a good invasion either way, regardless of the outcome. And he just backed off and let me deal with it. And then it's back to a nice one-on-one to finish this invasion off in style. So much respect, GG to this host, and he's putting up a really good fight. He's using one of those new great katanas, the Rakashka or the Rakashka. I'm not sure how you say it. The Rakashka great katana. It does so much damage, but I managed to hit him there with the Ash of War from the Sword of the Night and Flame, and he rolls in and gets me with a poking attack as well. And like I say, so much damage. We kill each other at exactly the same time, and it's just a beautiful death. I absolutely love those deaths. Excuse me. I love those deaths where you both die at the same time after a really good fight. It just feels like such a fitting end sometimes to a good invasion. Absolutely love it. Now we're back in the deep root depths in this one, and I've got someone using the shield pokey build. One of the new attacking pokey defensive shields there. The carrion shield, whatever it's called. But these have been really strong. I know they have just had a nerf in the recent patch that happened. But from what I've seen, they're still in quite a good place. They just seem like they're a little bit more balanced overall. But they do still seem like a really good weapon. This was a really good invasion, just a good old mage battle. One mage against another. And it turned into quite a good tactical battle. This host is using a really good selection of offense. He's mixing it up really well. He's not just your typical mage, just spamming projectiles at me. You know, he's going with the shield. He's going with the Moonlight Greatsword as well. He's just got a really nice play style. I really like the way he's approaching the build. And yeah, I just appreciated this invasion. It was a really good one. I always appreciate two good mages going at it, who aren't just standing off and throwing things at each other. We're both actually trying to get in there and get some attacks in. And like I said, this one turned into a bit of a tactical battle. He puts the spell down in a minute on the floor. I always forget what it's called, but it's the one, you can see it on the floor there now. It boosts his attacks when he's standing in it. Oh, what's it called? Oh, forget what it's called, guys. I can never remember the names of things because I've got an awful memory. I need to do some brain training. But you can see he's you know, it's a little bit of a standoff. He's standing in that area. I managed to catch him out here with a massive putrescence there. I get some good damage, and then I decide this is my chance. I run through the hailstorm there, take some damage on the way, but I can see that I've got him on the back foot, so I press on, take some damage, and I just get the finishing blow on him to end that invasion. Really good one-on-one, really good invasion, GG's. You can see the power of the Vortex Putrescence on this one. This is my favourite spell from the DLC. I absolutely love it. It's my go-to spell on this build. I use it all the time when I'm being pushed. It's so good to catch people out. Really, really useful spell. I absolutely love the Vortex of Putrescence. Now I invaded these two and they've got a Bullgoat's monstrosity. Is he a white mask wearer as well? I think he might be. I'm not sure. But if he is, no mercy for the white masks. Is he? I'm pretty sure he is a white mask wearer. Absolutely disgraceful, guys. You've got to keep those white mask numbers down. If you see a white mask out in the wild, you know what we always say? You know, no mercy. Just kill them, guys. Just kill them. Eradicate them. It's a massacre. It's a white mask massacre out there. No mercy. But these two are being quite aggressive. The horse gets himself separated here, and the collapsing stars finishes him off while he's off guard. Really good way to end the video. That was the last invasion, guys. I hope you've enjoyed watching this one. Some more of the Chaos Maker. I'm going to be back again with a new video showing some more little changes. Like I said, I've got some incantations and a new weapon lined up on this build, so I'm really looking forward to trying that out. But yeah, look after yourselves, guys. Take care, and I'll see you all on the next video.